Lesson 3.3, Properties of Addition and Multiplication. In this video, you learn to use properties of operations to generate equivalent expressions. Expressions with the same value, like 12 plus 7 and 7 plus 12, are equivalent expressions. You can use the commutative and associative properties to write equivalent expressions. Commutative properties. Changing the order of addends or factors does not change the sum or product. So in numbers, if you have 5 plus 8, it equals 8 plus 5. And 5 times 8 equals 8 times 5. You can change the order and it doesn't change the answer. In algebra, a plus b equals b plus a, and a times b equals b times a. Again, changing the order doesn't change the answer. This is only true for addition and multiplication. Associative properties. Changing the groups of addends or factors does not change the sum or product. So if I group together 7 plus 4 and then add 2, or if I group together 4 plus 2 and then add 7, it doesn't change the answer. Because remember, you have to take care of parentheses first. So whatever's inside the parentheses, you do first. Same for multiplication. If I do 4 times 7 first and then multiply by 2, or I do 4 times 2 first and then multiply by 7, I'm still going to get the same answer. In algebra, it's a plus b first and then add c, or I could do b plus c and then add a. Same for multiplication, a times b and then multiply by c, or I could do b times c and then multiply by a. Will not change my final answer. Again, only true for multiplication and addition. Example 1, using properties to write equivalent expressions. So now we're going to use these properties to actually simplify expressions by combining like terms. So if you look at this expression, 7 plus, and when we see parentheses in an expression, we say the quantity of 12 plus x. We would normally take care of parentheses first, but we have 12 plus x, and since we don't know what x is right now, it's not telling us, we can't actually do anything. But we can actually use the associative property to regroup things a little bit differently. So if I rewrite this as 7 plus 12 plus x, and I'm going to write down which property I used, associative property, I can actually simplify this a little bit. So in parentheses, I have 7 plus 12, which is 19, and then I have the plus x. That's more simple than 7 plus the quantity 12 plus x, and that would be my answer. Because I can't simplify anymore. I can't add 19 plus x because I don't know what x is yet, and you can't add a variable to a constant, which is what I have. Part B. Simplify the expression, the quantity of 6.1 plus x plus 8.4. So I have the same problem here. I can't add this constant to this variable, so I have to do a little bit of not only regrouping, but I have to use the commutative property to shuffle things around as well. So first I'm going to use the commutative property, and I'm going to change the order of what I have, and I'm going to switch the order of the x and the 6.1. Remember, I'm allowed to do that because it's addition. Over here I'm going to write commutative property. That shows what I'm allowed to do. And now I'm going to change the grouping. I'm going to change where those parentheses are, and I'll have x plus 6.1 plus 8.4. So now I have both of the constants in the parentheses. I'm going to write over here that I use the associative property. And now I can actually add those two constants together, and I have x plus 14.5, and that's my simplified answer. And part C, simplify the expression 5 times the quantity 11y. So I'm going to use the associative property to change the associations and the groupings of these constants in the variables. So I'm going to put the 5 times the 11 together and leave the y on the outside. Remember that 11y inside the parentheses, that's a coefficient next to a variable, that means they're being multiplied. So 11 times y, all those are being multiplied together. And that is the associative property. So now I can simplify a little bit here and do 5 times 11, which is 55, and then just put the y there. I could put a multiplication sign in between those. I could put parentheses around the y. There's a lot of ways to show that, but this is the simplest way to actually show 55 times y. The addition property of 0. In words, the sum of any number and 0 is that number. You've known this for a very long time. So if I add 0 to 7, I'm going to get 7. And if I add 0 to any variable, I'm going to get that same variable. And then the multiplication properties of 0 and 1. The product of any number and 0 is 0. So 9 times 0 is 0, or 8 times 0 is 0. Again, you've known this for a very long time. There are just actual properties that discuss this better. The product of any number and 1 is that number. So 4 times 1 is 4, and a times 1 is a. Example 2, using properties to write equivalent expressions. So simplify the expression 9 times 0 times p. So I'm going to use the associative property, and I'm going to group the 9 times 0 together. And I'm going to actually multiply 9 times 0, which is 0. Now I have 0 times p. And remember, 0 times anything is going to be 0. So my answer is 0, and that's very simplified. And for part B, simplify the expression 4.5 times r times 1. So first I'm going to use the property of 1 here. I'm going to write this down. And we'll put these two together, and we know that anything times 1 is going to be what you started with. So r times 1 is r, and 4.5 times r is 4.5 r. Example 3, real-life application. You and 6 friends play on a basketball team. A sponsor paid $100 for the league fee, X dollars for each player's t-shirt, and $68.25 for trophies. Write an expression for the total amount the sponsor paid. So, he paid $100 for the league fee, X dollars for each player's t-shirt. Here's where you have to be a little bit careful. It says you and 6 friends play. So how many players are there? There's 7. So we need to add 7 t-shirts on there. X dollars for each t-shirt. That's going to be 7x. 7 times the number of t-shirts. We don't know how much the t-shirts are yet. It's just saying X dollars. And $68.25 for trophies. Plus $68.25 for trophies. Write an expression for the total amount the sponsor paid. So let's simplify this a little bit. First, I'm going to use the commutative property to shuffle these around so I can simplify. So if I move the 100 and the 68.25 a little closer together, then I can simplify these, which gives me 168.25 plus 7x. So now, whenever I find out the amount of t-shirts, the price for the t-shirts, I can just plug that in for x, and I'm going to have the total paid.